So our language is the Latin writing system, and my name is Andrew Crosley, and I'm with
Ashlyn Barrera.
And Amy Lipke.
So location and language, Latin was founded in central Italy called Latium. Rome is now located where Latium used to be, and Latin is a dead language, rarely being spoken, but was extremely common during the Roman Empire and would primarily be spoken in Italy. So as you can see here on the map below, all the areas covered in red is where Latin would be spoken during the Roman Empire. And right here in the central is where it was primarily spoken here in Rome and Italy. But it stretched as far as Spain and some parts of Africa. And origin of the Latin language. It originated in Latium, Italy, and was the language of ancient Rome and was used throughout the Roman Empire for communication, art, writing, and many other practices. Latin was created by the dialects of early Latium people, and Latin dates back to 7th century BC and was used from 1200 BC until 400 AD and modernized every few hundred years, changing from Old Latin to what is considered Classical Latin. The origin of Latin was the start of the creation for new languages like Italian, Spanish, French, and Portuguese that developed later, and we'll talk more about that in later slides. The evolution of the writing system. So as you can see, they have the same letters we use today, but they are missing a few, but they were pronounced differently, and this is because they were based off of the Greek alphabet, but had their own twist on it, and they evolved into what would be considered Latin. So the change, that being, is why they are not pronounced the same way we pronounce English words today, but English evolved from that, so we have them to thank for the way we pronounce our words today.
Going off of that evolution slide, here's some characteristics and examples of the Latin writing system. To the top left graph, you can see evolution and comparison over time from languages transcending up and evolving. So we're starting with early Arabic, and as you can see, the alphabet is more picturesque. There's definitely a lot more detail into it, and as we go up, the alphabets get more modern and a lot more just like straight edged and a lot easier to read for sure. And to the top right is the alphabet itself compared to our modern day American English alphabet. As you can see, there is quite a bit of difference in comparison between the two. And at the bottom shows the evolution of the Latin alphabet going from top to bottom. And to the bottom right is a video going over the reason as to why certain letters do not exist in the Latin alphabet, partially due to confusion and mispronunciation.
And I'm going to go ahead and play that clip.
Letters of the Latin alphabet handed down to us from ancient Rome and fitted, albeit imperfectly, to our English tongue. Wait, not so fast, that's wrong. This was the Latin alphabet. The rest of these were just crafted by some clever old-school modders. Yes, it's true. Your G's, J's, U's, W's, and Y's don't have the ancient pedigree of the rest of your alphabet. But what they lack in antiquity, they more than make up for in scrappiness. This is their story. G was the first to emerge. Long ago, Greek G made its way to Italy and turned into Latin C. But in early Latin, the C actually stood for the sound G and the sound K. Worse still, the one letter you might think could straighten things out here between K and G and let us differentiate them, that valiant K, well, that was going out of fashion. But C was still hanging on, K-ing and going along. To linguists, that's sensible. They could tell you all about how these two velar stops actually share most of their features, and they just differ in one little thing, voicing. But to everyday Romans, that's little consolation. The difference was confusing and dangerous.
And please feel free to check out the rest of that video that we used. Awesome. Ready for the next slide?
Additional information, the Latin writing system, also known as the Roman alphabet, originally containing 22 letters, and the modern Latin alphabet now contains 26, although different languages add and or remove characters or letters when needed. Fun fact, the old Latin alphabet did not contain the letters J, G, U, and W, and as I previously said, this is because a lot of the time it caused confusion and mispronunciation in words. In ancient Rome, there were two main types of Latin script, which included cursive and capital letters. And this also evolved into us having capital and lowercase letters today in the modern alphabet. Once the Roman Empire fell, it allowed the locals to create their own distinct dialects, which over time evolved into the languages we have today, such as French and Italian. The writing system never really died, it was just evolved over centuries.
And then for our language practice, all of the sentences are popular Latin phrases that have come from Roman history, philosophy, and literature. The first sentence states Vina Vita Vicia, which in English is I came, I saw, I conquered. This was a famous quote from Julius Caesar after his victory in the Battle of Zela. And then the second sentence is a famous line from the Roman poet Virgil. It states Amor vincit omnia, which means love conquers all in English. And then lastly, probably the most famous Latin phrase comes from the poet Horace, and it states carpe diem, and that means seize the day. And some of the pictures that are included over to the right kind of showcase just how common and popular and how much they are like everywhere in society, even today. And then for our quiz, if you want to pause it right here to try and take the quiz, and then the next slide will showcase the answers, and I'll read these out. So the first question is still spoken as a native language. The second question is where did Latin originate, specifically talking about what region in Italy. The third question is who primarily spoke Latin. The fourth question is what languages did Latin help influence? And then our last question is after Old Latin, what did Latin evolve into? And all of these questions were based on the content that we displayed just earlier. And then here are the answers.
Awesome. And then if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to one of us or comment on the video or anything like that. Latin's a very complex language that was spoken thousands of years ago, and it had a complex origin as well as the evolution that took place. So if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to let us know. And this is the teamwork distribution for who did what slides. And then here's some of the links we used to research. And yeah, that's all. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.